Good Morning Emerson. Coming up, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that a Palestinian state will never be a reality during his time in office. Lauren Fox has the complete story.
And bust those brackets out because it is March and the madness is about to ensue. Sean Stackhouse is here to get you hyped for college hoops.
All that and more today, Tuesday, March 17th. I'm Maggie Morla.
And I'm Logan Reaver. A happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there this morning.
That's right. Top of the morning. It is St. Patrick's Day. We've got our green on.
A little bit. She's making up for it a little bit more, but
Kiss
still
us
rocking it.
We're Irish. But even though we're in mid-March now, we're still seeing some snow, some cold temperatures. Our new correspondent for weather, that's Michael Kyanis, is going to be here to recap that for us.
Good to have a new weather guy. He's definitely going to make a new impact for the show. And also we have a health package later with Ashlyn Lillibridge, who went rock climbing, as tough as that is to believe, in all of this snow. So that should be fun for the health segment.
That's right. And later, Reid sat down with musician Tyler Berret. He's pretty up and coming, so it's nice to see that.
But for now, Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu had some harsh news for Palestinians yesterday regarding his bid for re-election coming up. Lauren Fox has the details.
Thank you, Logan. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised there will be no Palestinian state if he is re-elected for a fourth term. On Monday, Netanyahu said that he would not withdraw troops from occupied territories because it would ensure Islamic extremists take over. This vow contradicts his 2009 statement of support for a two-state solution to the Israel and Palestine conflict. Netanyahu has failed to compromise in 2 rounds of peace talks and is continuing to develop Jewish settlements. He is currently trailing behind the center-left Zionist Union Party in the polls. And prosecutors in the Aaron Hernandez murder trial say the former Patriots tight end is intentionally trying to be more likable in court. Hernandez recently laughed at a joke from a witness, mouthed "I love you" to his fiancée, and even fist-bumped lawyers after Patriots won the Super Bowl. Boston lawyer Philip Tracy thinks this animated persona is a defense strategy, so the jury will have reasonable doubt that Hernandez shot and killed his friend Odin Lloyd. With only shoe prints, tire tracks, and a surveillance video as evidence in the case, Hernandez's sudden, lighthearted behavior could really help or hurt him in the eyes of the jury. And Texas Senator Ted Cruz assured a little girl the world's on fire during his speech in New Hampshire on Sunday. After referring to the Obama economy as a disaster and Obamacare as a train wreck, Cruz finished off his list of hyperboles with "the whole world's on fire." This shocked 3-year-old Julie Trant, who from her seat in the front row asked, "The world's on fire?" Cruz said yes, but eased her worries by saying that mommy and everyone would make the world better for when she grows up. And Fenway Park is rushing to clear snow from the field before opening day, and they have a secret weapon: black sand. The dyed sand speeds up the melting process by absorbing sunlight and melts the snow beneath it. So far, Fenway workers have used more than 2.5 tons. Head groundskeeper Dave Meller says that in the past week alone, the black sand has helped melt approximately 40 inches of snow. After getting over 100 inches this winter, Bostonians can look forward to seeing the green monster look less like the abominable snow monster. And Sunday's South Boston Parade was one for the history books, causing people to celebrate more than Irish pride. South Boston's St. Patrick's Day Parade Sunday allowed LGBT groups to march for the first time in the parade's 115-year history. The parade's ban on gay and lesbian groups was a point of controversy every year, causing elected officials like Mayor Tom Menino to refuse to participate. Outfits, a group of LGBT veterans, and Boston Pride were the 2 groups added to the lineup after the South Boston Allied War veterans lifted their ban on gay organizations. Governor Charlie Baker and Mayor Marty Walsh were part of the historic parade, and North Shore Congressman Seth Moulton marched with outfits. Not everyone was celebrating the inclusion of gay groups this year, as 2 Roman Catholic groups decided to withdraw from the parade after hearing the decision. However, Mayor Marty Walsh commends the parade for finally reflecting the values of Boston neighborhoods. That's all the news I have for you today. Back to Logan and Maggie at the desk.
Thanks, Lauren. Now, yesterday I got back from Los Angeles, and I was not so happy to see that we had gotten more snow, but I was at least happy to see that most of it was starting to melt.
Definitely.
So now we go to our new weather correspondent, Michael Kayanis. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome,
Yes.
Michael.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
So what's up with the snow situation?
Well, with all the snow we got last month, more snow was the last thing I expected to see when I came back Sunday. So I'm going to get to that later. We actually broke the snow record for Boston, but for now, let's talk about today. We might feel a little warmer today, but you shouldn't expect to see the sun. This morning, we're feeling good at around 37 degrees, and that temperature will increase as the day goes on, hopefully hitting up to 49 degrees. We'll also be experiencing some showers today, and along with that, we'll be seeing wind speeds anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, the wind will continue to pick up, bringing Boston's temperature down to 24 degrees with nearly 30-mile-per-hour winds. Fortunately, by then, the sky should be clearing up, though. Unfortunately, we do have a very, very slight chance of snow. Not that we needed any more of that. Tomorrow, the gusts will continue to bring cold air into the city. We'll be lucky to get a temperature around 30 degrees with all the breeze. Though the sky should be clearing up by then, try not to forget your books in Anson, because passing through the Boston-Tremont intersection is going to be pretty difficult with the persisting 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. Looking ahead at our 5-day forecast, things should slowly warm back up after tomorrow's temperature drop. Today, we're looking at a rainy day with a high of 49 and a low of 21. Tomorrow, things will clear up, but the wind will leave us with a high of 30 and a low of 19. On Thursday, the wind should calm down with a high of 36 and a low of 25. And on Friday, the clouds are rolling back in with a chance of snow in the evening, bringing a high of 44 and a low of 34. Any snow should be gone by Saturday, where we'll have a light cloud cover and a high of 46 and a low of 29. That's the 5-day forecast, so now let's take a look at the snow. 2.9 inches of snow fell from the sky this past Sunday, pushing Boston's total snowfall for the 2014-2015 winter season to a whopping 9.05 feet of snow. That's right, 9.05 feet. That's the equivalent of 108.6 inches of snow, breaking the previous snowfall record of 107.6 inches from 1996. So there you go. We did it, Boston. But I think I could speak for most of us when I say we are ready for the winter to end and prepared for a nice, snow-free spring. So that's the weather. I'm Michael Kayanis. Back to you, Maggie and Logan.
Thank you, Michael. First episode and already in mid-season form.
I know.
Stick with us because Sean is going to help all of you bracketology majors coming up.
We'll have a quick break and be right back.
And welcome back to Good Morning Emerson.
Music correspondent Reid recently sat down with local musician Tyler Berret. Allie?
So last week, I actually was able to go into Philadelphia to World Cafe Live, interview Taylor. Super exciting. He just hit number 10 on the iTunes charts for a singer-songwriter. He's, creeping up behind Ed Sheeran and all the big names. So I'm really excited to see where he goes with that, and I'm excited to show everyone how that went last week. So let's take a look. So we're here with the lovely Taylor Berret in Philadelphia at World Cafe Live, where I'm going to be asking him some questions about how he started singing, how he got involved into the music industry, and where he sees himself in the future.
It's more than words, I only have me. I know
How did you find yourself in the music industry? Like, where did it all start for you?
I played in a lot of bands in high school, and would play Battle of the Bands and talent shows and stuff like that. And it was really one of those things of you kind of meet one person who knows one person, and then they introduce you to somebody else, and it kind of happened like that. It's kind of the boring way for it to happen.
What made you want to start writing music in the first place? Like, did you start when you were younger and realize that writing was your passion, or how did you get involved with that?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I would write songs as a joke in the cafeteria and make my friends sing them, just about stupid things. And I did it, through into middle school of just writing these goofy songs as jokes. And meanwhile, I really, when I grew up, I really wanted to be a writer of books and novels and things like that. And so I don't remember I don't remember exactly when the shift happened where I realized that I wanted to write in the context of music, but when I did realize that that was something that I might be able to do, I got really, really excited by it and just started writing as much as I could with melody.
So now, the songs that you've been writing, you've written quite a few now. Is there one that speaks to you or one that is most meaningful to you? Or also when you perform, which one's your favorite one to perform in front of an audience?
The one that comes to mind off the bat for me is The Heat, kind of an answer to both questions. It's one that I feel very kind of personally attached to because it's very specific and it's very literal in its lyrics, and it's very specific to me, especially. And you know, it's very representative of a period of my life that is talked about in that song, and it's also one that I really love doing live. So it kind of works out nicely.
And then on your new album, you have a song called Hypnotize Me, and it's one of my favorites.
Thank
I
you.
got to hear your album a few days before it was released on the 10th. So what was your meaning behind that song, or what made you write that song?
Hypnotize Me is one that is about finding, it's finding comfort with kind of giving yourself up to somebody and relinquishing control, which is something that I don't really have talent for. Just kind of being comfortable, not being, you know, either in the driver's seat or just, you know, in a position of control. And so it's kind of a song that's about saying to someone else, like, you kind of have this power over me that I can't really do anything about, but that's okay. I'm just going to be okay with it and let it happen.
All right, well, I love that song. It's
Thank
great.
you.
All right, well, I really appreciate you taking time
Of course,
out of
thank
your
you.
day to do this interview with me. Again, guys, this is Tyler Berret. Check him out. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm Reid, giving you guys the latest feed, and I'll see you all real soon.
Cool, thank you, Allie. Maggie, it is a magical time of year. I know you think I'm talking about spring break, but I am talking about March Madness, 68 teams squaring off with only one champion in the end. Sean, it's such a fun time for sports fans and also gamblers out there. What is your favorite time of March Madness?
I really think my favorite part is the round of 64. We see upsets every year, whether it's Florida Gulf Coast or Mercer last year. I am sure we're going to see another one. But the field of 68 has been set for my favorite event of the year, March Madness. So from now until the national championship game March 6th, expect me to be very tense and constantly checking my brackets. So who will emerge out of this field? Let's break it down, starting with the Midwest region. I personally really like the Midwest region. I think they have some of the best teams in the entire tournament. My team to watch here has to be the ACC champs, Notre Dame. I see them beating Kansas in the Sweet 16 and then battling Kentucky in the Elite 8. I think the Wildcats can easily get past Purdue and Maryland. The only team here that can stop Kentucky is the Fighting Irish, with first-team All-American Jaron Grant. However, Kentucky has too deep of a bench and such elite players, I see them making it to the Final Four. Now on to the West. I think we will see the most upsets here. My team to watch is BYU. They have a play-in game tonight against Ole Miss, but I like them to win that and then take down Xavier and then Baylor. Tyler Haws averages nearly 22 points per game and can take over at any time. BYU will be the Cinderella story for this year's bracket. However, my upsets don't stop there. I'm taking North Carolina, a 4 seed, to take down number 1 Wisconsin in the Sweet 16 and then knock off number 2 Arizona and advance to the Final Four. A healthy Kennedy Meeks is a matchup nightmare. So that's it for the West. Now to the East. I think the East is the weakest region in this year's bracket. I'm not hot on 1 seed Villanova either. The 2 teams I do like here are Virginia and Louisville. Both are solid teams, and I see them getting by tough competition like Michigan State and Northern Iowa. Out of the East, I have to take Virginia, though. The backcourt of Brogdon and Anderson is just too good. Louisville has some late-season losses and didn't do much of anything in the ACC tournament, too. They're a great team. Virginia is just too much for them to handle. And now to the South region. The South also has some great matchups. I don't think people should sleep on Davidson either. I have them upsetting Iowa in the first round. I wouldn't be shocked if they even took down Gonzaga. However, I do have the Bulldogs winning that one. Iowa State and Duke, I think, are the 2 best teams in this region. I predict those 2 to meet in the Elite 8. Duke has star power, but getting past Iowa State won't be easy. George Niang is an elite player, and I'm not sure who Duke will have to guard him. After saying that, though, I am taking Duke to the Final Four. So to recap, my Final Four teams are Kentucky, North Carolina, Virginia, and Duke. I'm taking Kentucky to take down UNC and then Virginia to bring down Duke. That makes the national championship game Kentucky-Virginia, a matchup we have yet to see this year. I hate to do this, but I am taking Kentucky as my national champion. They're too good in every aspect of the game. Every player they have is elite and could even make it to the NBA. The Harrisons, Cauley Stein, Towns, Johnson, Lyles, Ulis, the list goes on and on. They're unstoppable and will go down as one of the best teams in college basketball history. That's my bracket. Now back to Logan and Maggie.
Wow, so Sean rolling with the rest of the nation and Kentucky. So what I've heard so far is that 49% of the nation also thinks Kentucky's going to win it all. What about outside of Kentucky? Who has the best chance of maybe not just knocking them off, but winning the whole thing?
Well, if Notre Dame can get past Kentucky, I have them facing the Elite Eight. I think they could win the whole thing. They have a really strong core 5 guys. They have 4 players that can shoot extremely well. Pat Connaughton, Jaren Grant, Demetrius Jackson. They're elite players, and I expect to see a real fight in that Elite Eight matchup in the Midwest.
All right, well, thank you so much, Sean. Even though we are now in March, we're still not seeing any of that nice spring weather. But fortunately, health correspondent Ashlyn Lillibridge has a fun way for you to exercise without going out in the cold. Here she is at Rock Spot, a local rock climbing gym.
Good morning, I'm your health and fitness correspondent, Ashlyn Lillibridge. Today we're at Rock Spot in South Boston to talk to Nicole Terrian about their new rock climbing gym. Would you say for someone who is just starting off rock climbing, what kind of level would you suggest for them to start with?
Well, I mean, Rock Spot is actually really good about setting routes for absolute beginners and strong climbers alike. So if you look around in here, you're gonna find like super easy stuff that's almost like a ladder, and super hard stuff that really requires a lot of strength and a lot of thought. You know, a lot of people will come in and only use the top roping area and get plenty of climbing in that way. Some people will only boulder. But for your first visit, I would definitely say check out both, see what you're really interested in, use the different equipment that we have here. So climbing is way more than just an upper body strength training. It's a lot about core strength, it's a lot about balance, and moving your body in different ways. So we find that a lot of gymnasts, a lot of yogis do very well here because they're just used to thinking about their bodies a little differently.
So what are some of the events that you do here at the Rock Spot?
Sure. Well, we've got a big bouldering competition coming up in April. We do like smaller community comps during and after resets. We do birthday parties, we do team building stuff. It's the first gym that we have in like a major metropolitan area. We're accessible by the T, so you can take the red line to Broadway. It's really easy walk. We've got plenty of parking. Like, it's very, very easy to get to from all over the city. A regular day pass is $16. We do offer a bunch of different memberships and punch cards. So for a college student, for example, a 1-month membership is $50 or 3 months for $125.
For GME's adventure to the rock wall climbing spot. It's about time that I go and give one of these walls a try. Thanks so much.
Coming up, we have Irish, Leprechaun, Clover, and Green Talk after the break. Stay with us for everything St. Patty's.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and thank you for keeping it here.
So Robert Durst thought he had gotten away with murder until he admitted it in an HBO documentary. Amelia, what's going on with Durst?
Maggie, it's actually a really creepy story in my opinion, and you know, the HBO documentary clip we're going to take a look at today, super spooky stuff. I mean, it looks like it's something out of, you know, like Paranormal Activity or something. It's very spooky. So here's some background information on it. Real estate heir Robert Durst was arrested last weekend on suspicion of the murder of Susan Berman after he seemed to confess to several killings in an HBO documentary episode released on Saturday. Durst made national headlines as a suspect in 3 deaths over the last 30 years, including his missing wife, her close friend, who's Berman, and his elderly neighbor. The suspicion heightened from controversial HBO documentary The Jinx, which created current law enforcement scrutiny that's happening right now. Let's take a look at his sinister confession he made in the final episode of the documentary.
I'm going to go use the restroom, which is right here. Or maybe this is the bathroom.
Yeah, that's...
You're right, this is the bathroom. Kill them all, of course.
Some really spooky stuff that HBO caught on audio there. The clip was caught off camera when Durst wore his microphone into the bathroom during an interview. Durst is headed to California to face the charge. He will not plead guilty. And fashion designers Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana are in the public eye after musician Elton John claimed he was boycotting the brand in an Instagram post. The designers recently made controversial remarks saying same-sex couples should not raise children and condemning in vitro fertilization, calling those children synthetic. John seemed to take the duo's opinion personal as his children were created from IVF and took up the hashtag #BoycottDolceGabbana. Gabbana issued a statement Monday saying, "It was never our intention to judge other people's choices. We do believe in freedom and love." And the hottest new trend in the marketing world, the answer seems to be Tinder. This is pretty tricky and kind of heartbreaking. Tinder users at the XSSW Festival in Austin, Texas on Saturday came across a woman named Ava when using the dating app. The conversation would flow with questions from Ava like, have you ever been in love, and what makes you human? Sort of weird questions. Eventually, Ava would lead the users to her Instagram, which is actually an account promoting sci-fi film Ex Machina. So who is Ava? Well, it's actually actress Alicia Vikander, who plays a robot in the movie. The whole scheme seems pretty brilliant. Talk about a new platform for advertising, right? And in the box office this weekend, Disney seems to be continuing on a roll with new live-action film Cinderella topping the charts in its first week. The film, starring British actors Lily James and Richard Madden, raked in around $70.1 million over the weekend. This follows the box office lead of Disney's Into the Woods that was released last Christmas, which was also up for multiple Academy Awards. Disney will have more jewels to add to its crown, too, with more live-action adaptations of The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and Dumbo on the way. And while we're on the topic of all these awesome live-action remakes, let's toss it over to some of my favorite Disney ones from the past. My first favorite is definitely going to have to be 101 Dalmatians. Even though, Cruella de Vil kind of creeped me out a little when I was a little kid, 3-year-old Amelia definitely appreciated the real puppies. Next up is one that's a little more recent. The 2010 remake of Alice in Wonderland was so wacky and so unique, and of course, I'm a huge, huge fan of Tim Burton. Anything he does is going to be cool. Finally, Maleficent's success in the box office certainly proved that these live-action movies can be made with new twists and new faces and still maintain the magic we all adored as kids. That's about it for Pop News today. Back to Logan and Maggie at the desk.
Well, thank you, Amelia. And that brings us to our magical holiday today, St. Patrick's Day. Now, when most people think of St. Patty's Day, we think of, green, shamrocks, leprechauns, beer. But where did it all start?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research in honor of today's show. Also, the fact it started in 1903 is when it became a holiday. Also between St. Patrick, who wasn't even originally Irish. He was British. He was born in Britain. And from there, it took 30 years for him to convert to being Irish. He was captured by Irish raiders, and then from there became the saint patron of Ireland. So definitely a weird sort of background before that, but history-wise, that's about it. With today's generation, it's a bit different. People have kind of a sort of lackadaisical knowledge of what St. Patrick's Day is about, like you were saying with the green beer and all these traditions. That's not how it goes down in Ireland.
Right. There's definitely a misconception of how things are, traditionally. In Ireland, for instance, a lot of the time they spend their day at church for St. Patrick's Day. Stores are closed. They have a few parades and festivals. There's a big parade actually in Dublin on the day of. But for the most part, it's kind of a home and family and religious holiday for them.
Where here it's kind of known as just kind of like a strictly drinking day, for the lack of a better
Right,
word.
right.
And actually it was banned, there was no drinking until the 1970s, especially in Ireland. So I think people get kind of misled from the sort of the tradition of it also.
Right. The holiday has definitely been Americanized. I mean, yeah, we drink Guinness and that is an Irish beer, but for instance, the Irish car bomb is a drink that no real Irish people would be drinking. And actually, corned beef and cabbage, we always think of as a traditional Irish meal. My mom makes it every year. But I recently read that it's not actually that traditionally Irish. They're more likely to eat fish and chips or something like that than the corned beef and cabbage. But actually, if you're interested in getting some, I know you can go to Durgan Park in Faneuil Hall this
Check that out.
weekend. Yeah. There are a few places in Boston that are definitely celebrating the
Is there
holiday.
any other sort of things your family does with St. Patrick's Day in general? I mean, we're both pretty Irish too.
Well, actually, back in the day, I did do Irish dance for 3 years. So that was actually a big holiday for our family, and I danced in a few of the parades too. I had that big curly wig and the big dress, and yeah, it's a really cool tradition.
Fortunately, you won't be doing it with us today.
Right, I wish.
Definitely. That's all that we have today, though. We hope you have a very safe and a very green St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you all on Thursday.
Take care.